Yesterday evening, our Special Investigations Division detectives arrested 43-year-old Radames Guzman, aka Candyman, on 22 drug-related charges. This concluded a month-long investigation after detectives received information that Guzman was selling drugs from inside his business known as Exotic Snacks in the 1300 block of Southwest Gatlin Boulevard. Detectives were able to confirm that Guzman was indeed selling cocaine from the business and made several undercover purchases during this month. Detectives, the SWAT team, and Road Patrol executed 2 simultaneous search warrants yesterday evening, one at Guzman's business where he was taken into custody without incident, where he had cocaine, marijuana, and 2 firearms on him. I want to note he is a convicted felon as well. And one at his residence, the search warrant at 3400 block Southwest Savona Boulevard. Upon searching the residence, detectives located 10,000 pressed fentanyl pills weighing 2.4 pounds overall, with an estimated street value of $300,000. This is, from what I understand, the largest seizure here on the Treasure Coast and surrounding area of fentanyl and this type of drug. 626 grams of cocaine, or 1.38 pounds, approximate street value of $40,000. 4.5 pounds of marijuana, street value of $6,000. 7 grams of mushrooms, over 1,000 grams of THC wax, which has a street value of about $30,000. 2 cocaine kilo presses used to make kilos of cocaine to press the drug into that form, and 7 firearms from inside the house, plus the 2 that were on him, for a total of 9 firearms-related charges. We also seized 2 vehicles, a golf cart, and several items of jewelry for forfeiture. And he was arrested and charged with trafficking in fentanyl ×2, trafficking in cocaine ×2, possession of a firearm by a convicted felon, 9 charges related to that, possession of drug equipment ×2, possession of controlled substance, possession of marijuana over 20 grams, and use of a 2-way communication device to facilitate a felony. This was a lot of hard work by our detectives in this division. I want to give a special shout out to the case agent on this, Detective Clayton Baldwin. We'll not have him up here for obvious reasons, working in this type of situation. We did an outstanding job, but it's a team effort. They've been working very hard over the last year and a half dealing with this very dangerous drug in our community, and I'm just happy to see this seizure and getting this dangerous predator off the streets. So with that, I'll entertain any questions anybody may have.
Where'd the initial tip on this come in?
Just an anonymous source that we receive those types of tips all the time. And our detectives, they never take it for granted. They look into everything, just making sure that it's a quality of life issue and we get drug-related complaints. But this was a false business. I mean, this was obviously a front. Exotic Snacks, there was really nothing in there other than about $200 worth of merchandise. So he's obviously, what appears to us, using it to launder money and different things like that, which our economics detectives from the Criminal Investigations Division are going to be assisting our Special Investigations Division following up on that.
So you think essentially he was just using this business as a place to sell drugs, and that was basically it?
He was selling drugs out of the business, but I believe using the business also to launder the money through there as well.
With this a huge amount of fentanyl, I know earlier you said you thought it was the biggest seizure on the Treasure Coast history, but certainly it's the most fentanyl in PSL city history then, right?
Absolutely.
Where was he getting this huge, vast array of drugs, or do you guys know? Or
still working on that right now. We're not sure, but there aren't too many places to go higher up the chain than this gentleman right here in our city. I mean, 10,000 pills. I mean, you don't even see that really at the border. So to get this amount of pills off the street is just a big win for our community with the amount of overdose incidents we have within the community and deaths. So this is definitely saving lives.
Chief, even if he was using this business as a front, the fact that it's a snack place, it's a place where families or kids might be walking into.
Very dangerous. I mean, these are dangerous drugs. I mean, fentanyl, just the touch of it could be deadly in and of itself. That's why I never really understand why anybody would want to ingest this type of dangerous narcotic. But it is out here, it is in our community, and I'm just so proud of the detectives for the work that they did in getting this off the street.
Chief, is he the top guy, not the lower folks that are selling on the street? Is he like, because usually you want to get the...
This is, I mean, you could see the amount of drugs up here, illegal firearms. I mean, he's a significant player in our community. And with 10,000 pills, 2.5 pounds of fentanyl, again, we haven't seen that level of seizure within our community, especially within the city of Port St. Lucie for us. So he was definitely a top player here.
Does this guy have any priors beforehand?
He's a convicted felon. I don't know exactly all the different charges. I'd rather refer that to the affidavit. That's all spelled out there. I don't want to speak for other agencies what they arrested him on.
In terms of the case, did you make undercover buys from this guy, or can you talk about how you got PC to do the search warrants?
Sure. They made several undercover purchases from him. The detectives, again, doing a good job doing that, which led to get us the probable cause for the search warrant at the business and the residence. And that's why we were able to execute the 2 search warrants simultaneously. Our SWAT team also did an outstanding job, executing those search warrants and keeping everybody safe.
Talk about the overdose situation in the city. I know we've done stories with you guys over the years as the
Yeah.
as kind of roller coaster. Where are you guys right now in terms of overdoses this year?
So this is a nationwide problem. I mean, we've seen this with opioids throughout the country for several years, 50,000 deaths a year. And we've had our share here, unfortunately. In the last year and a half, we've had 230 plus overdose-related incidents. Not all deaths, just incidents that our officers have had to respond to, revive people with Narcan, different things like that. But we've also had, unfortunately, 30 deaths. And this drug doesn't discriminate. Okay, it doesn't discriminate based on race, doesn't discriminate based on age. I mean, we've had situations where fathers and sons, ages 79 and 50, have overdosed together. So this isn't a drug. It's very dangerous. I would tell anybody out there that addiction's a very tough thing to deal with. It's a significant challenge a lot of families deal with, and a lot of people can relate to. And I would just tell you, this is a very dangerous drug to be messing around with. And we just see way too many deaths with it. So if you are having problems, please reach out, get the help you need, get your family members the help they need, because we just saved potentially 10,000 people from an overdose situation. I mean, that is a significant amount of drugs to take off the streets here in Port St. Lucie and in South Florida. So again, I'm just so proud of the work that they did in dealing with this problem here. But that's how we're going to impact, getting people the help they need, but also enforcing the laws and getting these drug dealers, these predators off the street.
You mentioned 30 deaths. Was that in the last year?
Last year and a half up and through July. So January of 22 through July of this year.
That's overdose deaths related to opioids?
Opioids.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Chief, you've been in this city for so many years and you've watched it grow, and we always ask, does anything shock you? The amount of drugs here, is that shocking for you guys to see?
That's a lot. I mean, we've dealt with grow houses in the past, and every time every few years a different challenge comes up, and when you have challenges, I think it's good because you find out a lot about the organization, the officers that work here, and I can just tell you that the men and women that are out here doing the work each and every day, there's no challenge that they're afraid to try to meet and overcome. So this is just another challenge that, again, not only is faced in our community, but faced nationwide. And our officers are just so committed to keeping this community safe. And again, this is saving lives. I can't stress that enough. This seizure here is not just about busting a drug dealer. This is potentially saving lives and stopping a tragedy from happening to a family here within this community and the surrounding area in South Florida.
How long have you been working on this? Following him, watching him?
A couple months. It's been, a couple month long investigation.
What did Mr. Guzman say? I mean, how did he explain himself, or did he make any statements, or?
He made some statements to detectives, was pretty cooperative, especially when we were going to the house. I mean, the gig's up. I mean, he was taken into custody without incident. He was armed though, even though being a convicted felon. But pretty cooperative from what I understand. And again, the SWAT team, executed the search warrant at the house, made sure that was safe for detectives. But I went out there yesterday, a lot of teamwork. I mean, you can kind of smell the marijuana even in here. It was just all through the house. And so that's the type of dangerous situations our officers are having to deal with all the time too.
But what did he say? Like, oh yeah, I've been selling drugs for 5 years, or I just got into this, or you got the wrong guy?
Yeah, I'd have to refer you to the affidavit for that. I don't want to misquote anything that he said.
Was there anybody else in the house, kids, wives, or wife, excuse me?
There is a family that's there, but they weren't there at the time. And so we're following up on some additional, our detectives are following up on some additional leads with people that were staying at the house, so there could be more arrests forthcoming on this.
Was he taken into custody at the exotic snacks
Yes.
shop?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
At the shop, not the house?
At the shop, and then we executed the search warrant at the house.
And Chief, you mentioned that he may have been a significant player, but you see weapons like that, you see this amount of thing. Do you think there might be someone above him?
There definitely could be, but it's definitely, the firearms there shows me he's worried. When you're dealing in that level, that amount of money, we see drug rip-offs all the time, different things like that. So he was armed, selling out of the business. You never know who he's going to come in contact with. But our officers did a great job taking him into custody without incident, where there was no type of force having to be utilized on that.
Now, is there going to be further investigation, or is this the end of it?
Oh, no, this is just the start of this. Again, our economics detectives are going to be working with the Special Investigations Division. We're going to be following up on some other leads. I mean, this was just a tremendous seizure yesterday, so there's a lot of work to be done after this.
Where's this held at?
Oh, yeah, sure. Where's he held at?
I'm sorry?
Where's it being held?
St. Lucie County Jail. Yeah.
I know you said you don't know where he's getting, especially fentanyl, but we're hearing so much of it coming over the border. Is there a chance there could be a connection?
There could be, but I don't want to just draw that conclusion. I can tell you, there was a representative from Homeland Security out there yesterday helping us in the aftermath, and I mean, he was just mentioning that they don't even see these type of seizures at the border. That just tells you the significant amount of pills, 10,000 pills, that just can't get over what an impact this is going to have on our community, a positive impact getting this off our streets. So.
Did he say anything about, can't say whether he made any statements about where he got the fentanyl, because that seems to be the most significant thing about this bust.
Yeah, he wasn't very descriptive about where he got it, so yeah, we don't really get a lot of information out of that yet. But we're going to keep following up on it. They're relentless, our detectives, and they do a great job making sure they're going to follow all the leads they have. So, any other questions?
You know how long he's been doing this?
I don't know that. No, I don't. Sorry.
How long has the business been around?
He's had multiple businesses, which you could probably check through Sunbiz, but so it just shows you the amount of, I think, laundering that's been going on, hiding money and different things like that. We didn't seize any cash at the residence or at the business, so. But I mean, the street value of this being $300,000, I mean, he's putting those profits somewhere, whether it's buying cars, buying houses, and that's why we're looking to forfeit those items.
You mentioned he's a convicted felon. Where do you think he got these weapons from?
Well, that's the thing. I mean, people that shouldn't have guns are able to get them on the market illegally, obviously. So we're going to be making sure we follow up the serial numbers. They could be stolen. They could just be, sold illegally. So we'll follow up on all those leads, run them through the different databases, make sure that they might solve